Vagbhatacharya. Vagbhatacharya watched intently. He had to get it right. Was the heated rough mercury distilling into the water through the bamboo tube? Yes, it was. He whooped with joy. Success was his at last. He needed substances in their purified form for his medicinal preparations, and he had been experimenting with various chemicals and metals for some time now. He didn't always get it right, so every time he did, he was thrilled. It wasn't easy being an alchemist. The easiest way to purify mercury is therefore to use the Deki Yantra method of two earthen pots connected by a bamboo tube and distill mercury using water and heat, he remarked to himself. Now to write it down before I forget. Rasa Shastra, the study of the use of mercury and other metals, is to prolong a healthy life. It was Rishi Nagarjuna's specialization. Well, Bhagavatarya produced the Rasa Ratna Samukhaya, an alchemic treatise on the properties of mineral and metallic drugs and how they were prepared. This experiment just became part of its ninth chapter. However, that wasn't Vagbhatacharya's first book or only interest. He was actually a brilliant Vaidyan, a doctor who was an Ayurvedic practitioner. One day, it is said, many years earlier, a few senior Vaidyans in northern India approached him saying, "Our rulers have taken away all our medical books and banned us from practicing. They have confiscated our old research material too. Without it, we can do no new research. While we sit doing nothing, the people are practicing and discovering new methods of cure and medicine which we are unaware of. Do you think, Vagbhatacharya, you could go and find out what they're working on these days and keep us informed?" "Yes, of course," replied Vagbhatacharya promptly. He was young and eager to please. Not yet out of his teens, he was also a brilliant Vedic scholar. "But you might have to go in disguise," they suggested. Vagbhatacharya nodded enthusiastically and promptly set about finding a learned doctor to teach him. He moved south in his search for any renowned doctor who was willing to mentor him. Even then, when he found one, he had to pretend to be a student and disguise himself as such, which he quickly did. Thus began Vagbhatacharya's lessons in medicine. He got along famously with the doctor. Every morning he would go along with the other students and present himself in class before him. His teacher would go through the lessons with them, and every evening Vagbhatacharya would quickly take his leave, cross the river in secret, and join the group of senior Vaidyans who would be waiting for him on the other side of town. Then, while the seniors took down notes, he would proceed to dutifully narrate whatever happened in class that day, eat, and go to sleep with them. This went on for a few years. Finding him exceptionally brilliant and attentive, the doctor one day asked Vagbhatacharya, "Would you like to have special classes? You will, however, have to come to my house at night so that we can work without any distractions." That meant going to the doctor's house after dinner. Vagbhatacharya was hesitant. He was worried the doctor might find out what he was really up to. However, he agreed. Many years passed by in this way. Then one night his mentor, seeing his usual haste to leave, suddenly suspected the truth. "You have been passing on information secretly, haven't you?" he asked angrily. "You had me fooled all these days. Get out before I kill you," he yelled, and began to chase him round the room. Poor Vagbhatacharya, with no answer and nowhere else to go, dived out of the window and made straight for the senior doctors across the river. "Oh, you have been found out," they said, the moment they saw his face. "Yes," nodded Vagbhatacharya sadly. "Then it's best we scatter at once before we are all caught." "Thank you for all that you've done," they said, and disappeared. Left with no other option, Vagbhatacharya too went his way. He moved even further south, set up practice, and began working on his own. He then decided to write down all that he knew. So he put down everything that he had learned from that doctor and subsequently researched in a book called the Ashtanga Samgraham. He then produced a second, more brilliant book on the Ayurveda, Ashtanga Hridayam, or heart or essence of all the 8 branches of Ayurveda. It was so brilliant that it soon became a classic and a must for all Ayurvedic students, especially in Kerala. Only those who had mastered the book could hope to join a qualified group called the Ashtanga Vaidyans, or group of 8 great Kerala Ayurvedic practitioners. Though Lord Parashurama, who is supposed to have created Kerala, is often credited with having brought these 8 families together, many believe that Vagbhatacharya himself was the creator of the group of Ashtanga Vaidyans. Now, are you wondering how Lord Parashurama is connected with this? It is said that to atone for his sins, Parashurama was asked to give land to some 64 special families. So, to create that land, he threw an axe into the Arabian Sea and cleaved out a slice from the sea that extended from Kanyakumari to Gokarna along the west coast, part of which is today's Kerala. He then settled the families from the rest of India there. With the help of Vasuki, the Snake King, he then turned the hard and salt ridden soil into a rich and fertile one that could grow lush herbs and abundance of medicinal plants, all of which made it a fertile playground for Ayurvedic practitioners like Vagbhatacharya. Vagbhatacharya's Panchakarma therapy is even today said to form the basis of all such treatments in Ayurveda. It is a set of 5 procedures that cleanses the body of all doshas internally as well as externally, followed established principles he laid down so long ago. Different medicines made of different herbs and medicinal plants that are specific to Kerala form the basis of all his prescriptions. He often said less than one-fourth of diseases need a doctor. More than three-fourths can be cured without one, and often went ahead and proved it by prescribing simple remedies that needed no medicine at all. Charaka, the famous physician, Sushruta, the brilliant surgeon, and Vagbhatacharya considered to be the trinity or troika of Ayurvedic studies of ancient India. Since Vagbhatacharya lived and worked much after the other two, he had the added advantage of having their brilliant treatises and to research to work on. Vagbhatacharya was born in Sindh and grew up in the north, wrote the Ashtanga Hridayam sitting by a Shiva temple on the banks of a river in Kerala. Vagbhatacharya is believed to have lived for over 135 years and to have voluntarily given up his human body and obtained moksha or salvation. He produced many medical treatises in Sanskrit. Those that have survived have been translated into several other languages.